Far off the coast of mainland Greece stood Crete, the largest of the Greek isles. It was here that King Minos reigned, a ruler blessed by the gods, yet also cursed by them for his own transgressions. The trouble begins when Minos refuses to sacrifice a pure white bull to Poseidon. That bull was a divine gift, and Poseidon demanded it be offered back in reverence. Minos kept it instead, placing his pride above the god's command. This was a grave mistake. But the consequences didn't stop at Minos. His wife, Queen Pasiphae, soon found herself under a terrible curse, consumed by a bizarre longing for that same bull. From their union came the Minotaur, a creature half man and half bull. King Minos, horrified, sought a way to hide this abomination. He commanded the master craftsman Daedalus to construct a labyrinth. It was so intricate that once you entered, you couldn't retrace your steps without help or a miracle. And so the Minotaur lived, trapped at the labyrinth's center. This monstrous spawn prowled its dark corridors, a secret locked away, yet never truly forgotten. Now we shift across the Aegean Sea to Athens. King Aegeus, ruler of the Athenians, was caught in a precarious arrangement with Minos. Over the years, a tragic series of events had ignited Minos' wrath. One version says that Minos' son, Androgeos, died under suspicious circumstances in Athens. Furious, Minos waged war, and the Oracle of Delphi later declared that Athens must appease Minos to avoid ruin. The arrangement? Every 9 years, Athens would send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete to be devoured by the Minotaur. It was a sacrifice that weighed heavily on the city. Parents dreaded the day lots were drawn, and each name chosen felt like a death sentence. Theseus, the son of King Aegeus, could no longer stand by. Some even whispered that Poseidon had a hand in his birth. He refused to watch innocent youths be shipped off as fodder. Brave, determined, possibly a bit reckless, Theseus volunteered himself among the 14 tributes. Picture the scene, an assembly in Athens, with King Aegeus refusing to let his only son go. In a moment of heated emotion, Theseus steps forward. "Father, enough. Our people live in fear of Crete. I will stop this. The Minotaur will fall by my hand." A hush fell over the crowd. King Aegeus hesitated. One misstep could doom his son, and the entire city might lose its heir. But Theseus was determined, promising that he would hoist white sails upon his ship if he succeeded. If the ship returned with black sails, it would mean he had died in Crete's labyrinth. The stakes? The entire city's morale and Theseus's own life. So Theseus set sail. The ship glided across the Aegean, heading to the palace of Minos. When Theseus arrived in Knossos, Minos greeted him with a hint of mockery. He was fully confident that his half-bull monster would soon tear this brash Athenian apart. Some stories say Minos tested Theseus's divine heritage by tossing a ring into the sea and commanding him to retrieve it. In any case, the Crete king remained certain that no mortal man could navigate the labyrinth, let alone defeat the Minotaur. But not everyone welcomed Theseus with contempt. Ariadne, the daughter of Minos, felt a spark of empathy, or maybe love, when she first saw Theseus. She knew the labyrinth was hopeless for outsiders. She knew that the Minotaur was unstoppable. Yet she also knew that something about Theseus, his courage or his poise, made her want to help him. Torn between loyalty to her father and her desire to save this stranger, Ariadne made a choice. She chose Theseus. That very night, she slipped away from the palace to find him. The flames of a lone torch flickered across the stone walls. She reached into a small pouch at her waist and pulled out a ball of thread. Take this, tie one end at the entrance, unravel it as you go. If you survive, you can follow the thread back out." She was nervous, her heart pounding. If Minos found out, it would be a betrayal of the highest order. But Ariadne persisted. She gave Theseus a sword too, or so some accounts say. At the very least, she promised to aid him in the fight for his life. The tension hung thick in the air. If caught, Ariadne would be disowned, or worse. If Theseus failed, he would die anyway, and she would be in grave danger. Daybreak came, and the tributes were led to the gaping mouth of the labyrinth. The structure looked innocent from outside, a stone archway opening into dim corridors. Yet inside, it was a twisting, confounding network of passageways. Some corridors looped back, others seemed to spiral to hidden chambers. No wonder so many had perished there. Quietly, Theseus fastened the thread to a solid stone post at the labyrinth's entrance. He gave Ariadne a final, meaningful look. Her cheeks glistened with anxious tears. "I will return." He moved forward. His companions followed, though fear clung to them like a shroud. Step by step, they navigated the dim pathways, unspooling the thread behind them. The sound of their footsteps echoed. Somewhere in the distance, a deep, bestial grunt reverberated through the corridors. The Minotaur was stirring. The tension soared. Every second felt like an eternity. Each corner could reveal the monster at any moment. One of the tributes whimpered. Another tried to hush them. Theseus pressed on. After a nerve-wracking search, they finally came upon a massive shape, half shrouded in the labyrinth's darkness. The Minotaur stood taller than any man. It had the head of a bull with large horns curving from its skull. Its eyes burned with an animal rage. The beast roared, charging forward with brute force. The tributes scattered. Theseus raised his sword. He dodged one furious thrust of the Minotaur's horns, then felt the monstrous creature's hot breath as it bellowed again. The labyrinth's walls amplified the sound, shaking the stone floors. Theseus ducked to the side, slicing at the creature's flank. Pain made the Minotaur even more frenzied. It spun around, swinging a powerful arm. Theseus staggered backward, nearly losing his grip. He realized that a single mistake would get him killed. Summoning his courage, he lunged forward. The sword found its mark. It pierced straight into the monster's chest, close to its heart. One final roar. The Minotaur collapsed, its life bleeding away on the cold stone floor. Silence reigned. A few panting breaths broke the stillness. Theseus, drenched in sweat, stared at the fallen creature. This beast had terrorized Athens for years. Now it lay dead, and with it, the fate of the tributes had shifted. No longer were they victims. The dreadful cycle of sacrifice was about to end. But the labyrinth was still a maze. Grateful that Ariadne's thread was intact, Theseus carefully followed it back. He called for the others. One by one they gathered behind him. Tracing the thread's path in reverse, they emerged into the early morning light. The survivors exhaled with relief. Ariadne was there, waiting, her expression flooded with relief on seeing the group alive. Theseus and Ariadne rushed to the harbor that very night, determined to leave Crete before King Minos discovered the monstrous truth. As they boarded the ship, Ariadne gazed one last time at the palace rising in the distance. She was leaving her homeland, her father, and everything she'd known. The betrayal was complete, her future uncertain. They put Crete behind them, sailing northward. After a day or two, they arrived at the island of Naxos. Here the stories diverge. Some say Ariadne fell asleep on shore, and Theseus abandoned her under the influence of the gods, or out of his own questionable decision. Others say Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy, claimed her for himself, demanding Theseus leave her behind. However it happened, the result was the same. Ariadne ended up alone on Naxos, forever separated from the man she had saved. As the Athenian ship drew closer to Athens, Theseus grew anxious. He remembered the words of his father, King Aegeus. The plan was that if Theseus survived and defeated the Minotaur, he would hoist white sails as he approached the city to signal his victory. But in the chaos of the adventure, Theseus forgot this crucial detail. Battling the Minotaur, fleeing Crete, and the drama with Ariadne all consumed him. The sails stayed black. King Aegeus had waited on a promontory overlooking the sea day after day, scanning the horizon for his son's ship. When the dark sails appeared, Aegeus believed Theseus had perished. In his grief, he threw himself from the cliff into the waters below. The sea in that region would be named the Aegean Sea, to honor a father's sorrow. And so Theseus returned to Athens, victorious yet forever changed by the personal losses that marked his path. Yes, Athens would be freed from the tribute, but the price? The death of his father, the betrayal of Ariadne, the memory of the Labyrinth and the Minotaur, etched forever in his mind. He became king, stepping into the power vacuum left by his father's tragedy. His name lived on in Greek lore, a hero hailed for defeating the ferocious Minotaur, yet the shadow of guilt lingered over him. He felt guilt for leaving Ariadne, guilt for failing to change the sails, and guilt for a father who had died in despair. Time continued. The labyrinth eventually fell into disuse. Some say Daedalus himself fled Crete, crafting wax wings to escape King Minos' wrath. As for Minos, stories have him chasing Daedalus across the seas, eventually meeting a strange demise in Sicily. Many threads diverge, but one thing remained constant: the memory of the Minotaur's roar echoing through the twisting passages of the labyrinth, a testament to how pride and vengeance can shape destiny. The name Theseus became a byword for courage, but also for the heavy burdens that sometimes follow a hero's triumph. If you look at the map of Greece, the Aegean Sea stands as a silent reminder of a father's heartbreak. It teaches us that even a great victory can be stained by sorrow.